Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Explore and Engage with Anam. CPAC, which is the Conservative Political Action Conference. That conference just took place, and the CPAC attendees participated in a straw poll, to share their thoughts regarding who the vice presidential candidate for Donald Trump should be. Now, CPAC is a cool event. It brings together many conservatives from all over the country, and a lot of young conservatives attend the event also. So CPAC attendees are some of the most dedicated conservative activists. There are people who help Republican candidates win elections by working for them, by volunteering in campaigns and doing other campaign-related activities that help GOP candidates win. So a lot of those folks attend CPAC. And there are political strategists and activists who attend CPAC. And there are writers and podcasters and various other professionals who want to protect our constitutional rights and freedoms. So conservatives from all over the country attend CPAC. So it's really an event for freedom-loving Americans. So if a poll or a survey is held during CPAC, the results would carry a lot of value. And so reportedly, a straw poll was done at CPAC, and people responded by expressing who they think Donald Trump's vice presidential candidate should be. My friends, let me tell you that picking the right candidate for VP is extremely important. This is one of the most important elections of our lifetime. The 2024 presidential election is one of the most important elections of our lifetime. And so picking the right running mate is extremely important for Donald Trump. And remember, whoever the VP candidate would be, that individual would be, that individual is going to be participating in a vice presidential debate against Kamala Harris. So just think about who you would like to see participating in a vice presidential debate against Kamala Harris, okay? And so the CPAC attendees, they expressed their thoughts, and the results are in. But before I discuss the results, let me tell you that Donald Trump recently talked about a short list that he has. And this is a short list for potential vice presidential candidates. And there are 6 names in the short list, 6 names that he mentioned during a recent interview. And so there are 6 candidates that he said he's considering for VP. Now, there may be other names outside of these 6 names that Donald Trump is probably thinking about, but these are the 6 candidates he clearly mentioned in a recent interview. So who are they? These 6 candidates on the short list are Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, Florida Congressman Byron Donalds, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, businessman Vivek Ramaswamy, and Tulsi Gabbard, former Congresswoman from Hawaii. These are great names, excellent individuals, and I discussed in a recent video on my YouTube channel. I think it was a live stream. I discussed this list, and what's interesting in this list is the fact that there is a former Democrat. So Ron DeSantis is a Republican, Kristi Noem, Byron Donalds, Republican, Tim Scott, Vivek Ramaswamy, Republicans, but Tulsi Gabbard is a former Democrat member of Congress. So it's very interesting to see Tulsi Gabbard's name in the list. So now let's talk about who the CPAC attendees chose for VP. There was a straw poll, and who did the CPAC attendees picked for the position of vice president? Reportedly, 15% of the votes went to South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem. So 15% of the votes went to South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem. Kristi Noem is a superstar. I mean, she is a conservative superstar. She's an excellent governor, and people really like her. No wonder she got 15% of the votes. And another 15% of the votes went to former presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. And this is also very interesting. So 15% of the votes went to Kristi Noem, 15% of the votes went to Vivek Ramaswamy. And guess who's next? 9% of the votes went to Tulsi Gabbard, former Democrat member of Congress. And I must also point out that Tulsi Gabbard, she walked away from the Democrat Party. So she is no longer a Democrat. She's a former Democrat, and she left the Democrat Party. So it's very interesting to see that Trump mentioned her name in the shortlist, and also at CPAC, she got 9% of the votes from CPAC attendees. And then South Carolina Senator Tim Scott received 8% of the votes at CPAC, and Byron Donalds, congressman from Florida, he got 7% of the votes. And so Kristi Noem and Vivek Ramaswamy are on the top of the list. Now let me just analyze this, okay? Let me just analyze the results. The results tell me that people have a preference for a female vice presidential candidate. A female candidate, someone who is strong, someone who is successful in politics, someone who speaks well and has a lot of energy, and someone who can draw suburban women to vote for the Republican presidential ticket. Someone who can help gain votes from the suburban women in America. And so who's that candidate? Who can get the job done? That would be Kristi Noem. And then there's also a preference for diversity. Now let's talk about Vivek, who got the other 15% of the votes at CPAC. Vivek is of South Asian origin. If you study his family history, his family came from South Asia. Vivek is a person of color. And the Democrats like to say that Republicans are not a diverse group. But in reality, the Republicans have a lot of diversity in the party. And if you see the short list that Donald Trump mentioned, there's a lot of diversity there. And so I think there's a desire for someone younger to be the VP. People want to see a younger vice presidential candidate. Vivek is a young gentleman. He's fairly young. And then Kristi Noem, she's also fairly young. I think she's in her early 50s, which is quite young in the political arena. So as we can see, a lot of political figures tend to be senior citizens. If you just take a look at the elected officials serving in Washington, there are many senior citizens in politics. And so what I understand is that people have a desire for young and energetic candidates, young and energetic. And both Kristi Noem and Vivek Ramaswamy are young and energetic. And age has been a big factor during the presidential election cycle so far. Both the presidential candidates, Donald Trump and Joe Biden, both are quite elderly. However, there's a big difference between the two of them. In fact, there are lots of differences between the two of them. And I'm not going to comment on Joe Biden. Everyone knows that age is a big factor when you look at Joe Biden. But let me talk about Trump. Trump, he may be a senior citizen, but he is very, very sharp. He's very intelligent. He's full of energy. He's a great speaker. And so Donald Trump is in perfect health to run for president. So he may be a senior citizen, but he is in excellent shape to run for president. And so if Donald Trump picks a young and energetic running mate, I think that the presidential ticket will be a very strong one. So CPAC attendees think that Donald Trump should pick either Kristi Noem or Vivek Ramaswamy. Well, Trump may end up picking either Kristi Noem or Vivek Ramaswamy. We don't know that yet. Or maybe Trump has someone else in mind. Lots of questions, not enough answers. But there's one thing that we must understand, that CPAC results are very, very important. CPAC attendees are strong, conservative individuals. And so what the CPAC attendees say, what they vote for, that does matter in politics. So will Donald Trump pick either Kristi Noem or Vivek Ramaswamy for vice president based on the results of CPAC? We don't know that yet, but both Kristi Noem and Vivek Ramaswamy are on Donald Trump's shortlist that he talked about during a recent interview. But once again, as I keep saying, there may be other names, there may be other individuals that Trump has in his mind for VP, but maybe he is not talking about those individuals. There are other names that people mention. People talk about Ellie Stefanik, Carrie Lake, and there are other names. So lots of questions, not enough answers, but it's wonderful to see that people are engaged, and clearly the Republicans are united and they are looking forward to winning in November of 2024. This is one of the most important elections of our lifetime. And so, I'm hoping that Donald Trump will pick the right person for the job of VP. So there will be lots more to discuss in future podcast episodes. So my friends, thank you for staying connected with me. Please visit my website, tausifanam.net. And also, you can email me. My email address is tausif@tausifanam.net. Thank you once again for staying connected. And please let me know your thoughts, your opinions. Share with me your views. If you have questions, let me know. And I will be back again soon with a brand new episode of Explore and Engage with Anam.